Hello, everybody, and welcome to GravityKit Live. GravityKit Live is our once-a-month call where we show you what's new and what's possible with GravityKit. Answer questions you have when you come on. You can comment, leave a comment question on YouTube or X or Facebook, and we'll answer your questions. And also this month we're giving away swag for the first time ever, so that's awesome. I'm Zach, CEO of GravityKit.
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm Casey. I'm the marketing coordinator here at GravityKit. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. So Casey, we're running a swag giveaway this time. What are the lucky winners going to get?
Yeah, let's take a look at our new merch store over here. So we've got some really cool swag, guys. We've got t-shirts here. We've got long sleeves, mugs, these really cute onesies, hoodies, a bunch of really cool stuff. Someone joining us today is going to win a $50 gift card, and you can use it at our new swag store, and you can get whatever you want. So be sure to stick around till the end. We're going to announce the winner at the end of the call. If you have signed up for the live, if you have given us input your email address, we've already added you to the giveaway. If you haven't yet, you can just head over to gravitykit.com/live. There's a form here on the right. Put your name and email address in, submit that, and we will enter you into the giveaway.
Yeah, and if you leave a comment on GravityKit Live, like if you're in the chat right now, hello everybody, I'm going to be adding your name to the spinner as well. So you don't need to stop watching and go submit the form. I'll just add your name if you leave a comment. So while we're going, and we talked about the onesie a little bit in the GravityKit team channel. We were talking about maybe doing a twosie, where we both put on full-size pajamas and we're connected, and we, that might be a really cool swag item in the future. You might see us at a WordCamp in a twosie.
Yeah, we got loads of ideas for future swag.
So,
all right.
Yeah, February, happy February. February, our add-on of the month is GravityMigrate. And Casey, can you tell me about add-on of the month and GravityMigrate?
Yeah, so this is a new promo we're doing every month. We're going to be featuring one of our Gravity Forms add-ons, and you can get it for 20% off using a special code. So this month for February, it's GravityMigrate, and you can get GravityMigrate for 20% off using the code MigrationMagic.
And that might seem like it's a Gravity Whiz promotion. They don't own magic. Magic is a part of the world and is shared among all of us, including wizards and astronauts. So we both share in the magic love.
Totally. And yeah, before we get started, I wanted to quickly just mention WordCamp, Zach, if that's okay.
That's great, yeah.
Yeah, so WordCamp Asia is coming up in Taipei, Taiwan next month from March 7th to 9th. And Zach and I will be attending. So if anyone is planning to go, let us know. We'd love to meet up, hang out, chat about GravityKit stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm really excited about that. And I'm actually going to be spending the whole month in Taiwan after WordCamp Asia. So please, let us know that you're coming, and we'd love to say hi.
Yeah, I'm really excited too.
So Casey, before we start with the whole presentation and agenda and stuff, let's talk about what we're going to be talking about before we get started.
Yeah, let's do that. So I want to cover two things here. We're going to start with looking at importing ready-made applications directly from our demo site over to one of your own websites. And this can really help you streamline your development process. And then we're going to be looking at a new major upgrade to our data tables layout, which is really exciting. And then after that, we're going to be taking your questions. We'll start with the submitted questions, and then if you guys have any other questions, we'll answer them from the chat.
Yeah, and I'd love to hear in the comments if anybody's had a chance to play around with the new data tables 3.3 yet. I'd love to hear what you think, because every time I play with it, I have a grin on my face. It makes me really happy. All right, well, let's do this. So in terms of what we're going to be working with right now, what Casey's going to be showing us today is all based on our demo website at site.try.gravitykit.com. So Casey, do you want to show just a quick overview of like what's available there, in case people don't know?
Yeah, definitely. So here is our demo site, as Zach mentioned. And we have a bunch of ready-made applications here. Essentially, we have a showcase. So there's lots of different applications that you can view. We have a whole gallery here. I'll click into one that we added recently, which is a photo contest. So essentially here, for example, people would submit photographs that they've taken, and you might have a panel of judges which would submit comments and rate them using the Gravity Forms survey field. So here's an example.
I like the judge that says pretty good.
That's some good feedback.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we've got a bunch of stuff here. So we've also got, for our maps layout, we've got a nice geolocation directory, which is like a business directory, and we've got this neat map at the top where a user can input their location and see businesses within a defined radius.
And all this functionality, if you want to play around with it, if you go back to the homepage, Casey, there's this button, Take GravityKit for a Spin. If you click that button, you get your own exact clone of this site, and you get to play around with it and modify it and see how it's built. You can export it using GravityMigrate, which we're going to be talking about, and then you can import it into your own website. So check out try.gravitykit.com at site.try.gravitykit.com. It's really a great resource to see what's possible with GravityKit stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So let's do a quick demo of how this works when it comes to importing and exporting applications. So let's say I've identified a nice example here that I like, and I want to put this on my own website or a client site, for example. Let's take the employment applications view as an example here. So this is using our data tables layout, and we've got sort of job applications, and we are grouping them by approved, rejected, or waiting review. So there's a little entry approval system baked in here. So once you have created your own demo site, like Zach mentioned, and logged in, you'll see this link here at the bottom of all the views. And if you click download now, what that'll do is download a GravityMigrate export file. It's a zip file, and it contains all of the data that this application is using. So that includes the form entries, the view, the form itself, and any other related Gravity Forms data, such as add-on feeds, for example. So once I have that downloaded, it's super easy to import this into my site. So here I have a new WordPress installation. There's not much on the site yet. And I have GravityMigrate installed already here. So all I need to do is hover over GravityKit here and just go to GravityMigrate. And essentially all I need to do is drag and drop the export file here. I'm going to go ahead and do that. You probably won't be able to see because I'm just sharing my window, browser window here. But you'll see when the file starts uploading. So that's the same zip file that I just downloaded from the demo site. And that has been uploaded now. And so now I can select the data that I want to actually import. Just zoom in a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and select my employment application form. I can just click select all, and then I can select the additional data here. And as you can see, you can upload everything from entries, uploads and files, views, add-on fees, even GravityKit and GravityForms settings, and GravityFlow data. So I'm going to go ahead.
So this isn't just for GravityView. This isn't just for our add-ons. It's for the entire ecosystem. It's to move entire Gravity Forms installations over to a new site. If you want to move everything connected to a form over to a new site, this will do that.
Exactly, all things Gravity Forms. So let me go ahead and just select everything here, and I will press import. So GravityMigrate's going to start importing all of that over to the new site. And it's worth noting that you can do this with all of the applications that you see on the try site. And if you build your own views on your own demo site, you can export and import those as well. All right, so the import has been completed. So let's go ahead and check out the views. And yeah, we can see there's a new employment applications view here. And I will check that out on the front end. All right, perfect. So it's basically it's exactly the same as what we saw on the demo site. It's imported the view itself. Everything is configured exactly the way we had it. So the search bar up here, the data tables view itself, and we've got all the entries loaded in here. And the form has also been imported. So we can click through on a single entry, for example, and everything is exactly the way we had it before.
Including Gravity revisions, entry revisions, including all the entry meta that goes along with the entry, including any Gravity Wiz nested forms. All of this stuff is built into GravityMigrate.
Yeah, exactly. Oftentimes, you'll find yourself creating pretty complex applications using different add-ons and stuff in the ecosystem, and GravityMigrate just makes it super easy to export it, import it over. Really helpful, even if you're working on like a staging site, for example, and you want to put it live. Yeah, there's loads of use cases.
Yeah. So check out GravityMigrate if you haven't yet. And if you have like a complex question for our support team, share a GravityMigrate zip. That'll make it easy for everybody. You just export it and share it with support, and we can reproduce your view exactly as you have it.
Totally. All right. Yeah, if you guys do have questions, we might not get to them right away, but we'll certainly be collecting those and answering them at the end of the stream. During the live Q&A portion. So Zach, should we move on to data tables?
Absolutely. And I'm going to talk this up a lot. I already have. I was reflecting on this update. I think Data Tables 3.3 is the biggest update we've ever done to Data Tables in terms of functionality. I'm going to say it right now. It's our biggest update ever, because I think it takes Data Tables to the next level and just reveals a bunch of functionality that wasn't there before. So I'm really excited to talk about it.
Awesome. Yeah. If anyone's played around with it, let us know what you think. If you haven't, this has been released recently. We've got an announcement post on our site. But we're going to be demoing all the new features now anyway.
Hey, Casey, before we start, I just have a good example of what Scott was talking about. Or Scott in the chat says, if you're using Gravity Forms to create an application and your application has demo test data in it, you can bring in everything except for the entries. That you can bring in the form, you can bring in the settings, you can bring in everything, the configuration of GravityView if you have that set up. Yes, you can bring in everything except for the entries. And you just like import a form, import an application all in one. And that's exactly why we made this tool, to allow for that kind of thing.
Awesome. Okay, so data tables. Let's take a look at an example that we have set up on the demo site. And I'm just going to demo data tables before the update. So essentially, this update really makes a massive difference when it comes to user experience, because it's essentially speeding up data tables massively. But to really see the difference, let's take a look at what data tables was like before the update. So for example, if I search for an industry here, say internet, click search, you can see that it takes a little moment for the view to load and for that data to be displayed. And yeah, that's the same for the field filters here. If I just put something in here, you can see we have a little loading data sign.
And what this is doing,
Yeah.
what this is doing every time you make a change, it's asking the server, hey, I have a new search that I want to perform. Please let me know what entries match with the search. It queries the database responds, the result gets rendered in the display. That all takes some time. And it's faster on faster servers, it's a little slower on slower servers, but it takes time to do that round trip.
Exactly. So one of the big features that we've added in the new update is the ability to preload data in your view, which makes this searching and filtering process basically instant. So let's go to the back end here. This is the view editor of the view that I just was showing. If we scroll down to the settings here, and we just come and click on the Data Tables tab, and if we scroll down a little bit, you can see we've added a new option here, Data Processing Mode. So by default, Data Tables uses AJAX here, which was like Zach was talking about. Every time we're performing a search or filtering something, it's sending a request to the server to bring that data over. And we've added a new option here for preloading data. And this is using client-side processing. So let me go ahead and enable that and update the view. And then we'll see what kind of difference that makes. If I refresh here. Might take a little bit. When I'm sharing my screen, things tend to slow down a bit. All right, here we go. So I'm going to perform the same search as I did before on industry. Click search. Boom. Updates instantly. And it's the same with the field filters. So we can kind of filter here. You can see that the view updates instantly.
I'm just shaking my head because I love it so much. It's always so satisfying.
Yeah, it's super satisfying. It makes for an amazing user experience. And it also makes the whole process of searching and drilling down into your data just so much quicker and easier than it was before.
Yeah. And one of the nice things is that even responsive columns. So if you, on the left there's a plus sign, and that plus sign shows that there are some other columns that aren't being shown because the window's not big enough. Even that data is being searched. Oh, well, in this case, it's not meaningful data, but even that data is being searched, which is nice. You can combine field filters. And Casey, what's the difference between, you have the search bar on top and then the field filters in the table itself. Can you talk a little bit about what the difference is between those two?
Yeah, great question. So essentially what the field filters are doing are allowing you to drill down into the data that's been returned by the search that you're performing with the search bar. So for the search bar, we're searching across all the data in the form that has been added to the view. Whereas the field filters are drilling down into the data that's been returned by that search. So for example, if I search for the internet industry here in the search bar, you can see that returns just all the businesses in that industry. And then, for example, if I wanted to drill down into that even more and add a city here, it would just return results within that set already.
So one of the really cool things you can do with field filters that you can't do with our search bar is searching custom content, which is a very common request that we have. That's possible when you use client-side processing, and that's a new functionality that hasn't been possible with any other GravityView layout. Hasn't been possible before with data tables. So if you have a custom content field with merge tags in your own structures and then you can finally search that using this functionality with the new data tables update.
Yeah, great point. And there's a few other nice features that we've added. And if I go back to the view settings, we can check those out. So one thing that you can do now is actually choose which fields or which columns in your table should get a field filter. You don't have to select all of them. You can just select one or two if you want to. So for example, if I just select the industry column and we update that, only the industry column will have a field filter and the rest won't have that option. There we go. Yeah, so as you can see, we don't have field filters for these columns, but we do for the industry. And if I come back to the settings here, something else really neat that we added is the ability to search dates within a range. So let me add a date field here to the view. Date updated. I'll add that to the table. And then I'll come down here to the settings. And here I can select single date input or date range. So single date input will allow you to filter just for one single day, whereas a date range allows you to filter the data across a range, which is really nice.
Don't forget to select the field filter in the multi-select.
Yes. Good point. Well, let's go ahead and select them all. Okay, update that. And Zach, if I remember correctly, this was one of the questions I think that was submitted to us.
Yeah.
About searching entries within a date range.
Yeah,
so this is one way you can do that.
I'll show the question. Mark asks, is there any way to create date ranges for data that can be changed on the front end? Basically show records between X date and X date. So yes, this is one of the ways to do it. We have another way built in to the search bar, and we can show that later. But this is new functionality for field filters using the data tables layout.
Yeah, so you can see there's sort of a start and end date input here. And I'll just search for February. And there we go. And again, it updates instantly because we're preloading the data.
Yeah, so feel free to ask any questions. Oh, good. We have a response. That was mine. Thank you. You're welcome. I'm glad we were able to answer your question. Scott Gordon asks, for large data tables, are you limiting the amount that is being returned so as not to slow the system on page load, but still search all records? That's a really good question, Scott. And I was going to be talking about this next anyway, so let's talk about it. There are some downsides to client-side processing versus AJAX processing, which is why we still have AJAX as the default. Client-side has an upper limit of the number of entries that can be loaded in, because what you're doing is you're taking all that data and you're actually putting it in the web page itself. So the more data you have, the more that needs to be rendered in the web page, the longer it takes to output the initial page load. But once the page is loaded, things are generally faster. Where that also runs into some issues is that if somebody is using an old computer, that computer might not be able to handle the additional memory that is required for processing that additional data. And the more entries you have, the more memory usage there will be. And so there is an upper limit, but it depends on what users of your website there will be. So if you know that you and your internal team are the users of your website, you can load up the view with as many entries as your site can handle. And if you have a good beefy server, then you can go like hundreds of thousands of entries. It might be fine. but we don't want to artificially set that limit for you when we don't know what the limits and the requirements of your setup are. So if it might work for you to have a really preload a lot of entries because you have the good enough server, you have good enough client computers. And there's some numbers that I want to share. I'm going to add some text here to display this. So for client side, that's preloading all the entries. The feature we just added. This is an example from our site.try.gravitykit.com site. If we preload the information, it takes 4 seconds to initially load the page. It uses 290 megabytes of RAM. And with 80, and that's for 1,000 entries, 1,000 entries, 290 megabytes. With 80 entries, it's 190 megabytes. So that's a good example of like my computer has enough RAM, but your users might not have enough RAM. So if you're worried about that, you might want to choose Ajax, where Ajax, it takes less time to load initially because the computer has less work to do to render the page. And there's less information on the page, so it takes less RAM when you're using the data table. So instead of 290, it's now 180 megabytes. It's less CPU usage. With the client side, that was 105% CPU. So I used one plus CPU cores on my machine. This would use less than one CPU core. It scales infinitely in the way that it doesn't affect, the more entries you have doesn't affect the amount of RAM that's used because it's the same load. It just requests from the server responds, and it doesn't have to be preloaded. So there are some downsides, there are a lot of upsides, but that's something that you're going to have to figure out for your own usage. And if you have any questions, please let our support know. We're happy to answer them. There is a doc that Casey mentioned. We have a doc on our website. If you search for Ajax on our docs.gravitykit.com website, we have a doc outlining the pros and cons of DataTables 3.3 client side versus Ajax server side. So I hope that answers your question, Scott. Porter asks, do you plan on adding the client side loading to other views? We have been slowly, kind of sneakily doing this. Our maps layout actually does this, where if you scroll the map and you click, show the entries in the current map view, it actually loads the entries below dynamically. So that's Ajax still. It's not client side loading, but it's dynamic. So I think that might be kind of what you're talking about, Porter. We are constantly playing around with ways to make our experience better. Porter, I'd love if you could email support and describe further what you're looking for, because I would love to hear, and the whole team would love to hear what you have for ideas in that regard. Cool. If you have any questions about the data tables functionality, please share them in the chat. We're happy to answer them. But for now, let's talk Q&A. And it seems like Casey's all ready. Let's do this.
Bit quick with that one. So we had a few submitted questions. I'm going to go ahead and answer a couple of those. So one of them was, does GravityView work with BuddyBoss? So BuddyBoss is another WordPress plugin for like communities and membership sites and stuff like that. And the answer is, it really depends on what you're trying to achieve. Can you have both plugins working on the same website? Yeah, absolutely. You can definitely do that. But if you want to embed views inside BuddyBoss profile pages, you won't be able to do that. So, you can create views and embed them on regular WordPress pages, and the two plugins, won't conflict with one another. But you can't embed a view inside a user-specific page in BuddyBoss. So it'll be like, your website /user/Casey, for example. A view won't work there.
Not yet. And if this is valuable to you, please email us. The more we hear from users that want something, the higher it goes on our priority list. So if you're using BuddyBoss and you really want this to happen, please let us know and we can make it happen. But we have a lot of other cool stuff we're working on. But we'd love to hear from you if you're using BuddyBoss and this is important to you.
Yeah, totally. All right, so another question we had was, is it possible to allow users to filter a data set in a view and then download that filtered data? Or is the download option just for the entire data set? Yeah, really good question. The answer is yes, you can filter data in a view and then export that filtered data. And I can run through an example of how that would work. Great. So let me remove the question then.
Sorry. Yeah.
No problem. Okay, so here I have an example view set up. It's just a table view. We've got some records here. And if I go into the view editor and I scroll down to the view settings, if I click on the permissions tab here, you can see there's an option here, allow export. And if I enable that, it means that users will be able to export data from the view just by adding /CSV or /TSV to the view URL. And then there's an option here to show all in file. So essentially, if your view has like multiple pages, for example, and you didn't have this checked, it would just export the entries on the first page, or the entries that are visible. If you enable show all in file, it'll export everything. So let me go ahead and update. And then essentially, if you run a search on this data, you can still export the results that have been returned. So if I run a quick search here, you'll see in the view URL, there's a number of search parameters here. As long as you keep these search parameters in the URL, you can export the data that's returned here by the search. So all you would need to do is add /CSV here before the search parameters. Press enter, and that will export a CSV file containing the returned entries.
And it just did. It was hard to see that that's what happened, but that generated a download on your browser. Yeah.
Yeah.
And for anybody who's thinking, that sounds kind of complicated for how do I set it up? We're working on that this year to add a button that makes this easy. So that is planned for this year, hopefully earlier than later in the year.
Yeah, this is going to be a view widget that you'll easily be able to add to your setups. Cool.
Yeah, and that's also we have a lot of different export functionality going on in GravityKit. So there's that for GravityView. We have Gravity Export as well that generates exports. We have data tables that has its own export capabilities. We have another way to do things is REST API with an endpoint. If you're ingesting this information into an application, we have ways to do that. So if you have any questions about the right fit for you, please ask support. We're happy to help. We also have additional information available on our docs site at docs.gravitykit.com that talk about the different exporting functionality that we have available.
Yeah. And okay, there's another question here that I partially addressed before, which is about, is there a way to create date ranges for data that can be changed on the front end, show records between X date and X date? So I partially addressed that using the data tables field filter, but there is another way, as Zach mentioned, to do that using the GravityView search widget.
Yeah, let's check it out.
Yeah, let's do it. So let me throw that back up on the screen. There we go. Okay, so here I am back in the same view. And here is the search bar widget. And it's very customizable. So if I open the search settings, I can add a new search input. And for example, for the entry date. And then I can choose the input type here. And I can set that to date range. And that will allow me essentially to filter entries between 2 dates. So if I just refresh the page. Yeah, so you can see there's a search input field now here, and there's a start date field and an end date field. So you can go ahead and select a start and end date, and that'll allow you to filter entries between a date range. Cool. And this works for all view types.
Right, because the field filters is only data tables.
Yes, exactly.
All right. So I think that's what we have planned for the call. The only thing left is our swag giveaway, where we're giving away a $50 gift card. And I'm going to make sure that everybody who left a comment here is represented in the giveaway. And because I want to make sure that everybody is a winner. I mean, everybody is a winner if they're interested in GravityKit. All right. Yes. I'm going to share my screen where there's a very high-tech wheel spinner. I actually thought about doing this in GravityView, and I thought, nobody has ever requested a wheel spinner in the history of GravityView. So for me to spend development time on this would be a real waste of resources. All right.
Be careful, someone might be requesting this after this.
Oh, no.
Broadcast.
All right, I'm going to spin the wheel.
Oh, wow. This is tense.
Mark, and entry number 56308. Mark, I will be getting in touch with you. You are winner, chicken dinner. Congratulations. We will be sending you a $50 swag gift card. Casey, do you have the website pulled up for our swag store?
Yeah.
You do.
Here it is.
So if anybody's interested in swag that didn't win, you can go to bonfire.com/store/GravityKit. You can get any of that cool stuff. There are lots of different shirt types, and those onesies are adorable. Floaty mug. So check out the swag store. It's really fun. If you have any swag that you want that's not represented here, let us know, and we're happy to make that happen too. All right. Well,
awesome.
Thank you, everybody. We're so pleased that you were able to join us. We have these calls once a month now, and so next month we're going to be looking forward to seeing you as well. Any questions you have, you can ask us at support@gravitykit.com. At WordCamp Asia, come say hi to me. Come say hi to Casey. We're friendly folk. Casey, anything else?
Yeah, just a reminder that GravityMigrate, the plugin that we demoed in the beginning, that is our add-on of the month. And you can get it at 20% off using the code MigrationMagic at checkout. But other than that, thank you guys so much for joining us. This has been really fun. And if you have any feedback for us on, how we can make these live streams even more valuable for you, please do email us and let us know. That would be great.
Yeah, let us know. And thanks, everybody. Thanks, Casey.
Thank you.